All yours, Mark.
Okay, can everyone see that? See my screen?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So just to give everyone an idea of what I'll be speaking about today. So my company is Starium Group of Companies. So I actually have 8 companies within side of that company, and I've spoken to breakout room about this beforehand. And what Jeff spoke about just previously and a few weeks ago was actually right on the money. So actually working out what your unique service offering is really important. So there's been people within the network, there's many people I speak to in corporate, in sole traders, in all sorts of businesses, in all sorts of industries that do 375 things, and you think, how can they possibly be any good at any of them? So working out what you actually do, so most people in the room here have their stuff together, is really important. Really, really important, because that's the message you're delivering to people. So for some reason, I'll just see why. Well, sorry. So basically, are you guys ready to do business? And by that, what I mean is, do you have everything in place? So everything that Jeff spoke about and more beforehand, is everything ready to go? So that's, yes, particularly important for the end of the year, but on an ongoing basis, do you actually have everything in place? And we spoke about this in the breakout room beforehand as well. If Alan were to be unfortunately incredibly unwell for an extended period of time, not just this horrible lurgy that he has at the moment, would somebody be able to step in and actually run the company via his quality assurance process and still make him money? And I know, knowing Alan and Jeff, that the answer to that is yes. So, but a lot of people do not have that in place. So my process is no different. My 8 companies are all within different industries, but the process is the same, time in, time out. So regardless of whether you're a small business or whether you're a corporate, the process is the same, and it works time and time again if you follow your processes. So do you have everything in place you need to effectively and profitably run your business? So things like, as I said, your unique service offering. So have you actually screwed that down? What is it? What is unique service offering? If you do several things, that's great, but what is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you're best at? And the other things that you're doing should be and Jeff mentioned this beforehand as well, should be your upsell. So most Fortune 500 companies in America, 80% of their sales are upselling other services to current clients, not new clients. Okay, it's upsell of other services that they offer. So your business registrations, your licenses, your insurances, your quality assurance is incredibly, I'm a quality assurance Nazi. I was trained by one of the best in the world. Your policies, your procedures, your business plan. Can I have a show of hands who here has their business plan up to date and who he's reviewed in the last 3 months? So that without giving anyone a hard time, that will give you an idea of, you need to get your stuff in order. Do you have your cash flow and your projections planned and then pre-planned, as Jeff said as well, for the next quarter, for the next financial year, et cetera, et cetera? Do you have your goals in place? Again, Jeff mentioned that. What do you need? Is it that you want a GT 308 1985 Ferrari that Magnum drove in Magnum PI like I want? That's one of my goals. Is it another 3 or 4 motorbikes? It's another one of my goals. So, what are your goals? What do you need to facilitate your business, to obviously pay your bills, pay your employees, and make sure you have a comfortable life? What are the expansion process plans that you have for that? So you obviously cannot be everything to everybody. Anyone who says they know everything about business is full of SHIT. It's just not possible. So, even the best entrepreneurs, men or women in the world, they will engage people far more clever than they are in certain roles, but their secret is not being threatened by that. They're the ideas people, they're the glue, they pull it all together, they make it work, and they identify people like Alan. We need his skills. We need Jeff's skills. We need faith skills with work health and safety, and so on and so on and so on. They identify those people's ability to undertake those roles if they're smart, knowing they can't do it themselves. So it's about knowing where your limits are, where you want to go, but also engaging the right help to get there. So there's many people on this Zoom call today that most of us could do with, that most of us could do with. I'm fortunate, having worked in corporate for so many years, having a good overview of all of these subjects. But again, no one's an expert in everything. It's just not possible. So your human resources and your recruitment process. So I've just done a recruitment round for a business development manager. I've been recruiting for 35 years. I had 65 applicants, 63 went in the bin. They were that bad. They were terrible. Not because of their skills, not because of their accreditation, not because of their degrees, but because of their attitudes. Some lunatic university lecturer told them that they don't have to play well with others. They don't have, they get a ribbon or a trophy for just competing. Sorry, no. If you're representing my company, you need to represent the company in the way that I want to be represented, not the way that some crazy person's told you the textbook says. So believe it or not, a lot of corporates these days will tend to not recruit degree qualified people for that reason. So I can train skills to the cows come home. That's easy. I cannot whip a bad attitude out of somebody. You can't. A leopard never changes its spots. As much as you try, you can put much time and resources into trying to change somebody, and you never will. So if they're not a fit, and Ross will know this, and Jeff and Alan as well with what they do. I've done disc profiling. I've physically carried out over 4,000 myself, a large company around in Newcastle. And if an individual isn't a fit for your organisation, doesn't mean they're a bad person, doesn't mean their skills aren't any good. It just means they're not a fit for you, and they're not appropriate for you. They're not appropriate for your company. Networking. I can't emphasize enough of how important this type of format is for your business. Having met, I will say loosely, one of my best friends now, who's Mark Grant, at another network several years ago. We used to compete for Networker of the Year, and he always beat me because he's just better. That's the way it is. But the relationships that you create, and Jeff touched on it just before he finished off beforehand, to be able to collaborate with people in the room. Realistically, none of you on this call are really in competition with anybody. You're really not. So I've put several people together within Be Connected that can complement each other. You might do a package deal where Ross and Alan and Jeff work together, and they might offer a 5 or 10% discount perhaps. That may or may not be achievable depending on what the product is, depending, with Jacqueline, with her water system, she can't discount her product, so that's not appropriate for her. But Australians, and excuse the French ladies, are the biggest tight asses in the world, and they love something for free or cheaper. So if you can collaborate with each other and offer a small discount on something, then it's another hook to get people involved. It's a marketing ploy, but it works. People love free stuff. Now, I'm sure Dr. Chris won't mind me speaking about this, when him and I have had several conversations about this, and I don't know why, but the mentality on the Gold Coast in particular is a lot of people love Alan's services, Jeff's. They love Jacqueline's water system. They love Chris's. They love everything. It's great. Oh, we've got no money. We can't afford you. You'll need to do it for free. Well, I'm sorry, no. Well, I don't work for free. Do you work for free? Oh, no, it's just different. That's just your knowledge. You should just help me. No, sorry, that doesn't work that way. So you don't mind me mentioning this, Chris, about your pricing with your course? No? So Chris's course is brilliant. The first time I heard Chris speak, I was incredibly impressed with what he does. I've presented for a long time. I don't need his help, but he's incredibly knowledgeable at what he does. So same thing Chris has been receiving lately, people saying, oh, we really love this stuff, but we can't afford you. You should give it to us for free or next to free. So a good way for all of you to present, and again, Jacqueline doesn't have this flexibility, but to present your unique service offering to people, let's use Jeff as an example. So if he has an entire package, it might entail 3 months worth of work, etc., and it comes out at $5,000, or Dr. Chris is at 3,500, or whatever it happens to be. Extrapolate that cost over a 12 monthly cost, divide it by 52, bring it back to a weekly cost, and rather than delivering it in a total dollar figure, if you say to people, look, that's $12 a week. I know you're spending more than that on takeaway coffees. I spend probably $30, $40 a week on takeaway coffees. It's the same figure, but psychologically for people, there's no bill shock. They're not spending $3,500 or $5,000. They're spending $12, $15, $18, $19 a week, whatever the figure happens to be. And it's much more digestible, much more palatable to people to actually receive that information in that manner. Even though Jacqueline doesn't have that flexibility with her water system, she does have payment plans and she has to be careful with who she offers that to. But again, rather than paying $1,200 or whatever the system is up front, if they can enter into a payment plan, that's a much more, people are paying $1,000, $1,200 electricity bills at the moment. It's crazy. So, to say a water system that can dramatically change your life is X amount of dollars versus X amount of dollars per week, it's the same figure, just dramatically more digestible. So when you're all doing proposals or having meetings with people or so forth, consider delivering that message in that fashion, and people will receive it far, far better. Sigrid and I have had the same conversation, and several other people, and Jeff's mentioned this in the past beforehand, I've told to put their prices up because they're too cheap. Put your prices up. But still, when you deliver a package, deliver it in that fashion. Your networking, of course, being involved in groups, so industry-based groups, or as a provider, again, for someone particularly like Alan, delivering a presentation to a group such as the Master, and for Santi as well, delivering a presentation to someone like the Master Builders, the CPA, the list goes on and on and on, the organisational groups who all require you to attend, they require their members to attend courses because they get their CPD points to maintain their accreditation. You satisfy a need for them so they don't have to get a presenter, and you're shooting fish in a barrel rather than going and having individual meetings with one company or 2 or 3 people. You've got a whole captive audience that you're presenting to. Now, if you're going and presenting to 100 people, you only pick up 10%, that's 10 people. Fantastic. So consider about connecting with those groups, whatever might be relevant to what you're doing. So, for Faith, there's many, many groups with WHS that she could be, for pretty much everyone on the call, for Chris, for many, many people here. So, and then engage with your consultants as well. So again, no one knows everything. I don't know everything. Engage with the specialists that you need to possibly facilitate a need or fill a pain point that you guys have, so that you can get on to the next thing, the next important thing, the next thing that you're passionate about that's going to get you money in the front door. Don't labour on that point forever in a day trying to work it out yourself. Get someone else to do it. And you'll find the cost-benefit factor, the amount of time you're going to waste trying to do it yourself is going to, what's your dollar figure worth yourself? What's your hourly rate worth? You're going to waste 10, 20, 30 hours when you could engage somebody for an hour or two, pay them their fee and move on. So who's felt like this? Pulling your hair out. So as a small business owner, and look, even corporate, it's different because you have minions, you have slaves, but as a small business owner, you're everything to everybody. You're the accounts department, your marketing, your systems, your quality assurance, your sales. You're absolutely everything. So, again, and I'm not picking on you, Jeff, but with what Jeff said beforehand, having that work-life balance. As a small business owner that's starting out, it's incredibly difficult. It's really difficult to say, I'm downing tools at 3 o'clock to go take Johnny to soccer practice. It's not reality. But I broke up with my wife here in Thailand, and I had an epiphany about 3 weeks ago. And I was telling Chris about this. I woke up at 2 a.m. in the morning and I thought, you're an idiot. You caused half of this problem because you're working 7 days on all these companies, and your wife used to come to you weekly and say, do you have any time for me this week? That's what she used to say to me. She used to come in at night time, close my laptop lid down and say, come have dinner with your wife and your daughter. So it was as much my fault as it was hers. So where you can, yes, 100% try and carve out that time for your significant others or your children or your friends or whatever's important to you, and to give yourself some personal headspace. Mine is going and jumping on one of my motorbikes and going and wringing its neck and going fast for 20 or 30 minutes, and then I come back and I reset. So that's what keeps me sane and keeps me grounded. So unique service offering. You've got around 5 seconds when you first, so we all know everybody here except for a couple of new people, but when you first meet somebody, if you're first walking into a room to present, or you're first trying to sell to them, and I don't try and sell, I create relationships, but you've got about around 5 seconds. You need to be as sharp as a tack. You need to know unequivocally your unique service offering. You need to know your product or service. You need to be as enthusiastic as hell about your product or service. Be passionate about what you do. And then be the expert in your field. Impress the pants off them. So by that, I mean, obviously everyone here knows what they do, but before I go in to speak to anybody, whether it's online or whether it's directly within a company, in any industry, I research the hell out of what they do. So even within the jewelry industry, with our precious metal, each jeweler has their different little passions or likes or dislikes or whatever. So some are very 18 karat gold based, some are palladium, platinum, etc., etc. They're all different with what they do. They all have their little wants and needs. So when you actually research what a company does and you're speaking to them and then delivering whatever your product or service is directed at that knowledge, they sit there going, holy crap, our employees don't know this stuff. How did you know that? Well, guess what? I researched it. It's a trick. It's not difficult to do. Do some research on your potential clients. It's really easy to do, and you'll impress the hell out of them. But they will see through a phony in the first 5 to 10 seconds. You start talking rubbish, they'll see straight through. So you've got to be able to back up what you say you can do. You have to be able to facilitate what you say you can facilitate. You have to be able to deliver what you say you can deliver. It's that simple. I'm going backwards, sorry. So my group of companies, so Starium is the new precious metal that we invented. It's the first new precious metal onto the market in over 100 years. 15 years of research and development. I won't go into the qualities of it. It's addressed every other quality that the other metals don't have. So it's an amazing product. We're in year 20. We're not a startup. This is my 6th startup company, 6th successful startup company. The other companies that I've acquired that all require our equity funding are these projects here. So they all require equity funding in dramatically different industries. But again, my process is exactly the same. I have an equity funding organisation now that's raising $200 million for me, US, and I'll instill operations managers, not general managers. So operations managers for one good reason. They will be hungry with the promise of a GM's role. If I put them into GM's roles, they'll coast. They won't push. They won't go hard. They won't try and grow. They'll just sit back and coast. If I put ops managers in and pay them well, that title of GM will be more important to them than what the money will actually be. So again, it's a little bit of a trick. It's an inspirational trick, but it actually works. But if they follow my process and I meet with all of them weekly, set their targets, see what their pain points are, see what they need to get up and running, is absolutely no different to sole traders. It's the same process, exactly the same process.
Being good.
Now, just one of the things before I go on. So this is specifically for the people in the group. So I bought this UB expensive software. If everyone wants to scan that, that's Mark Grant's QR code. And Mark Grant's been flogging me over the back of the head for about 5 years now because I've been charging people money for this. So to pay for Mark's QR codes, everything he has is in that one code. So his website, his socials, everything. You can put your Google My Business, YouTube, you can put everything in it. So I can do those for you guys for your business. You can use it in your marketing. You can use it on my business card is just that with the company heading on. I don't have anything else on my business card. That's all it is. So, and all my marketing collateral has that on it as well. So that's something that I've offered to the people in the network. I charge other people now, again, begrudgingly, because Mark's made me, but yeah, I need to obviously charge something for it. So that's what I'm doing.
Excellent.
And then if people want to, I've done the same as what Jeff's done, and again, they're my corporate rates, my SMEs, small to medium organisations, networking groups. But again, for the group, for Be Connected, because I believe so much in what Be Connected does, $100 a week, not an hour, to work with you guys as an interview special to get you up and running. So even with all the companies that I'm seeking equity funding for, I still need funding for myself, and I have 2 ex-wives, which are expensive. So I need to turn some money for myself also. So that's it. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you very much.